Do you know the secret to an impactful applied research project? The secret often lies in building on the work of those who came before us. As Newton once said, standing on the shoulders of giants refers to the goal of quality research, which is to build upon the previous work of others. You synthesize this earlier work and establish the theoretical framework for your own research in the literature review part of your applied research project. This chapter is very important, therefore you want to make sure you do it correctly. To help you master this crucial chapter, I'll walk you through the process of writing a literature review in 5 simple phases. Knowing the why, locating the pertinent literature, information synthesis and cataloging, writing and outlining your literature review, and review. The first step is the why. We must examine the why before delving into the specifics of writing the literature review chapter. To put it simply, you cannot perform the literature review process effectively if you do not comprehend its goal and function. What is the literature review's precise goal then? There are 4 essential criteria. Comprehend the current state of the research as well as the main points of contention and dispute. Determine the gap or gaps in the literature, and then utilize this information to support your own research question. Develop an empirical testing conceptual framework if relevant to your study issue. Guide your methodological decisions and assist you in locating tried and true measurement tools for surveys and questionnaires for interviews. You must evaluate the literature with all 4 criteria in mind if you want to get the most out of the process, or you risk having a shaky foundation. Now that we've covered the why, let's discuss the how. I'll divide the process of writing your literature review into 3 phases, as was previously mentioned. Identifying the best literature, recognizing, condensing, and arranging the literature, organizing and composing your chapter on the literature review. Before you begin writing your chapter, you must finish steps 1 and 2. Don't try to accomplish 2 things at once by writing as you read. If you attempt this, you'll wind up with a disconnected, difficult-to-digest jumble, or you'll waste a ton of time rewriting and reshaping. It is imperative that you read and distill the information before organizing and writing. Step 1. Look for pertinent literature. Finding the current research that is pertinent to your issue is, of course, the first step in the literature review process. Although your research proposal most likely gives you a good foundation for this, you must go into great detail in the actual applied research project. You should look for any previously published works that might aid in the development of your research question, or its answer if it has not been determined. There are many methods for locating pertinent material. We will address the 4 top strategies here. It is advisable to combine the 4 strategies to ensure you do not miss any important research. Method 1. Scrubbing Google Scholar. Google Scholar, Google's academic search engine, is a fantastic place to start because it offers a comprehensive overview of the pertinent journal articles for every phrase you enter. Most importantly, it indicates the number of citations each piece has received, which provides a sense of its popularity or credibility. While certain articles will be accessible without charge, others will necessitate an account, which leads us to the following approach. Method 2. Scrounging via university databases. Universities typically give their students access to an online library that contains many of the main periodicals, though not all of them. Therefore, if you use Google Scholar to find an article that requires paid access, which is very likely, look for that article in the database at your university. If it is there, you will have access. Keep in mind that these databases typically have subpar search engine capabilities, so be sure to look for the precise article name or you may not locate it. Method 3. Snowballing journal articles. Every scholarly journal article concludes with a list of references. These references serve as the foundation of the piece, much like in any academic writing, so if the article is pertinent to your subject, there's a strong probability that some of the works it refers will be as well. Examine the titles briefly to determine what looks pertinent, then look up the titles in the library at Purdue University Global. Method 4. Scavenging for applied research projects. You can take advantage of other students' applied research projects, much like in Method 3 above. You can discover a wealth of possible literature by simply reading through previous applied research project chapters that are relevant to your topic. Access to past students' applied research projects is often granted by your university, although the following databases offer a far wider selection. ProQuest, Open Access Research Projects and Theses, EBSCO, SearchWorks at Stanford. Because they are produced by students rather than professionals, applied research projects are not as academically sound as published, peer-reviewed journal articles. For this reason, you should always verify the reliability of any sources you find using this method. You can accomplish this by looking at an article's citation count on Google Scholar. Now that you have a solid foundation in literature, it's time to review Step 2. Step 2. Record, catalog, and combine. After you've accumulated a small collection of articles, it's time to start reading and figuring out what all of this means. Although I described the first two steps, hunting and digesting, as a sequential process, in practice it is more of a back-and-forth tango. You read a little, get an idea, see a new reference or a new potential variable, and then resume your article search. This is quite normal. As you read, your ideas may evolve, new ideas may come to you, and you may need to change your course. After all, becoming acquainted with the current status of research in your subject is one of the primary goals of the literature review process. It is crucial that you begin arranging the information at the same time that you are searching through your treasure box. This has three components: recording reference data, creating a well-structured catalog, information synthesis and distillation. Record the reference data. You should add each article to your reference management program as you read it. Any software that you feel comfortable using can be used. Most crucial, even if an item doesn't seem very relevant at the moment, make sure you load every article you read into your reference manager. Create a well-structured catalog. At first, you may be sure that you can recall who said what, where they said it, and their primary points of contention. I promise you won't. You will read a ton of papers if you thoroughly research the pertinent literature, which you must do. It is just difficult to recall who said what, when, and in what context. Additionally, you won't be able to see how the research evolved over time or make connections between different articles if you don't have the overview that a catalog offers. To put it simply, creating your own literary catalog is crucial. When creating your catalog, I would advise using Excel since it lets you sort, color code, and run filters, all of which are incredibly helpful when your list gets big, which it will. It is up to you how your spreadsheet is set up. However, I would recommend having at least the following columns. Title, author, and date. Start by including this essential information in 3 columns. This will make it simple for you to categorize research by author, search for titles that contain specific words, or arrange research by date. Keywords or categories. You can either make a single column with keywords or several, one for each topic or theme, and then check the appropriate categories. Important points or arguments. Use this column to briefly summarize the article's main points, and research implications. Context. Take note of the socioeconomic setting in which the study was conducted. US-based, respondents between the ages of 25 and 35, those with lower incomes, etc. Making an argument regarding research gaps will benefit from this. Methodology. Describe the approach taken and its rationale. Make a note of any problems you believe the process is causing as well. Once more, you can use this to argue about research gaps. Quotations. Write down any lines that you think are worth quoting for future reference. Notes. Jot down any information that hasn't been discussed yet. For instance, connections to or conflicts with other ideas, unresolved questions, flaws, or restrictions, and so on. Assimilate and combine. The most crucial thing is to mentally combine all the facts as you read through the books and create your catalog. How does it all fit together? Try to create a more comprehensive picture of the current status of the research by looking for connections between the different pieces. The following are some crucial questions to ask yourself. Which of my own research questions are addressed by the current body of research? What are the areas of agreement and disagreement among the researchers? What changes have you seen in the research over time? What are the gaps in the existing body of research? You may find mind mapping software like FreeMind helpful in helping you create a broad perspective and synthesize all the data. Alternatively, if you like taking notes on paper, you can benefit from purchasing a large whiteboard. Step 3. Write it up and create an outline. It's time to put pen to paper, or rather fingers to computer, once you're confident that you have processed and distilled all of the pertinent literature in your head. Here there are 2 steps, writing and outlining. Create an outline. It could be tempting to start writing without a clear format in mind after reading for so long. But before you write anything, it's crucial to choose your framework and create a thorough plan. It takes preparation to create a clear, coherent, and easy-to-follow narrative in your literature review chapter. Avoid winging it. You won't always adhere to the plan exactly, of course, but without a thorough blueprint, you're likely to wind up with a disconnected waffle and then have to spend a lot more time rewriting, tweaking, and patching. In this case, the saying, measure twice, cut once, is highly appropriate. The first structural choice you'll need to make is whether to organize your review chronologically, by date, or thematically, into themes. Your topic, research goals, and research questions, all of which are covered in this article, will determine the best option. After making that decision, you must create a bullet point outline of the entire chapter. In order to know exactly what you'll cover where, how each section will relate to the others, and how your entire argument will grow throughout the chapter. Try to be as specific as you can. In order to spot word count issues before you've spent weeks or months writing, it's also an innovative idea to assign approximate word counts for each part at this point. Start writing. Now that you have a thorough outline in hand, it's time to finally begin writing up. It's normal to experience some writer's block at this point and procrastinate since you feel pressured to finally get anything down on paper. To aid in this, keep in mind that the goal of the first draft is to just get your ideas out of your head and onto paper. You can then revise them. Perfection is not the goal. It's acceptable if the structure slightly changes, the word count distributions fluctuate, or you decide to add or remove a part. Just write down your ideas without worrying about any of this in your first draft. After you've finished your first draft, no matter how terrible it is, take a day or two, longer if possible, to see it from a different perspective. Pay close attention to the narrative and flow. Does it make sense and transition seamlessly between sections? This is the time to try to make the writing more concise. Tighten the connections between the sections, reduce the number of words, and make it easier to read. After you've finished, ask a friend or coworker who isn't an expert in the field if they grasp the main points of your writing. Asking them to repeat the chapter to you is the greatest method to evaluate this. This method will help you determine which points were presented clearly and which weren't. Finally, polish it up and forward it to your professor for feedback. Let's review. We've discussed how to conduct research and compose a top-notch literature review chapter in this post. Let's quickly review the main conclusions. Prior to reading or writing anything, it is important that you comprehend the why of the literature review. Make sure you comprehend the process's four main purposes. Finding the pertinent material is the first step. This can be accomplished by reviewing previous applied research projects and theses, using the snowballing process, your university database, and Google Scholar. The next step is to create your own literature library, compile all of the research, and enter every piece in your reference manager. After that, you must create a thorough chapter plan. The more specific, the better. Make sure you have a precise outline before you begin writing, not in your mind, but on paper. Don't strive for perfection. Instead, write your initial draft in rough form. Done is better than perfect, remember? Get a layperson's opinion on your second draft and refine it accordingly. After that, polish it and turn it into your professor. A well-crafted literature review not only supports your research, but also contributes to the academic community. It's a testament to your dedication and scholarly rigor. Now it's your turn. Start your literature review journey today. Embrace the process and let your research shine. Together, we can contribute to the ever-growing body of knowledge. We have provided additional videos and documents that focus more closely on specific elements and steps in the literature review process. Take your time and review each of these as many times as it takes to get it. Good luck with this chapter.